Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to TJKidz Super Fun Stories, where imagination becomes reality. Today's adventure takes us into the world of inventions, teamwork, and a robot that gets a little too excited about cleaning. So grab a comfy spot, get cozy, and join me on this adventure. The Cleaning Robot Disaster. Audrey's room looked like a tornado had spun through it and decided to stay for dinner. Clothes were everywhere, the bookshelf was overflowing, and towers of books lay scattered across the floor. A half-finished art project sat on her desk, along with paints, a spilled cup of markers, and scattered cotton balls. Her mom stood in the doorway with her arms crossed. "Audrey, have you finished cleaning your room yet?" Audrey froze.
I don't have time right now. I'm finishing my science fair project."
"Your room is getting out of hand," her mom said.
I know. I'll clean it later. I promise,"
Audrey replied. Mom didn't look convinced. "Later better be soon." Audrey grabbed her backpack. She had more important things to do, like meet Jayden at the school to finish their robot. Jayden was already in the science lab when she arrived, tightening a tiny screw on their project. He was the coding and wiring genius. Audrey was the idea generator. Together, they made a great team.
"Ready for the big day?"
Jayden asked. Audrey grinned.
"Our robot is going to blow everyone away."
Their robot was a small, boxy machine with flashing lights, buttons, and a pair of robot arms and a gliding base for legs. It could follow simple commands like pick up objects and spin in a circle like it was dancing. It wasn't fancy, but it worked. At the school science fair, the judges watched their demonstration closely. Jayden typed a command, and the robot rolled forward, picked up a pencil, and placed it neatly in a cup. The judges nodded in approval. Then Audrey said,
"Robot, dance!"
and it spun in a perfect circle. The crowd laughed. The judges smiled. It was pretty adorable. When the winners were announced, Audrey squeezed Jayden's arm. "First place goes to Audrey and Jayden." They cheered, high-fived, and held up their ribbon proudly. Then their teacher said, "You two will represent our school at the state science fair next month."
"State? That's huge,"
Audrey said.
"We'll need to upgrade the robot,"
Jayden added.
"Yeah, I have an idea,"
Audrey responded. Later that afternoon, she told Jayden,
"What if we make the robot do chores, like fold laundry or clean up messes? That would definitely impress the judges." "That's actually a great idea,"
Jayden said. He didn't know that she was thinking about her room. So they spent hours at Jayden's house, coding new commands and rewiring the robot. It could now sort objects, fold small towels, and pick up toys. Audrey had convinced Jayden to let her take it home to test it.
"Just be careful," Jayden said. "It's not built for heavy work." Totally. I'll be gentle.
Audrey replied. She was not gentle. The moment she got home, she set the robot loose in her room.
Robot, clean.
It beeped happily and got to work. It folded shirts, it stacked books, it put toys in bins. Audrey sat on her bed, watching in amazement.
This is the greatest thing ever.
For 2 days, her room stayed spotless. She even added a vacuum attachment she found in the garage. The robot zipped around like a tiny cleaning superhero. But a few days later, things changed. The robot started vacuuming too fast. It sucked up socks, then some hairpins, her scrunchie, then a drawing she wanted to keep. Audrey tried to stop it.
Robot, pause.
The robot did not pause. It beeped loudly and zoomed across the room. It knocked over a vase and ran over a blanket, dragging it behind. Smoke puffed from its vents.
No, no, no. Stop cleaning,
Audrey shouted. The robot ignored her and tried to vacuum her pillow. Her mom opened the door. Audrey, what on earth happened to your... The robot zoomed past her feet. Is that your science project? Mom said.
I can explain,
Audrey said. You had better call Jayden right now, Mom exclaimed. Jayden arrived at the house about 10 minutes later. He stepped into Audrey's room, observing the chaos.
Audrey, what did you do? I might have used it to clean my room, and I might have added a vacuum, and maybe it's a tiny bit broken,
Audrey replied with a nervous giggle. The robot beeped wildly and tried to vacuum Jayden's shoelaces.
Okay, that's not good,
Jayden said. They chased the robot around the room, dodging flying socks and coughing through little puffs of smoke. Audrey grabbed a laundry basket and tried to trap it. The robot zipped away. Jayden reached for the power switch, but the robot began spinning in circles. Finally, Jayden managed to get the power switch and shut it down. The robot let out one last dramatic "Boo, boo, boo, boo," and went still. Audrey bowed her head down.
I'm really sorry. I shouldn't have used it for chores. I messed everything up.
Jayden looked at the robot's cracked panel.
I am a little upset. It was a good idea, but we didn't build it strong enough for full-on housework. It's just a prototype. Can we fix it?
Audrey asked.
Yeah,
Jayden said.
Let's try.
They spent the next few days repairing the robot. It wasn't perfect, but it worked again, at least for simple tasks. When they arrived at the state fair, they were nervous but hopeful. Their demonstration went well. Not amazing, not terrible, just solid. When the winners were announced, they held their breath. Third place goes to Audrey and Jayden. They looked at each other surprised, then burst into smiles.
Third place is awesome,
Audrey said.
Yeah,
Jayden added.
And your chore idea? If we perfect it for next year, we could win first place.
Audrey smiled.
Well, we have a whole year to prepare.
They walked out of the fair together, proud of what they built and excited for what they'd build next. The End. And that is the end of our story, friends. Well, I'm so glad that Audrey learned that honesty matters. When she used the robot to try and do her chores, she was not being very honest or fair to Jayden. But when things got out of hand, she confessed the truth. And with some teamwork, they figured it out together. Even when things go wrong, you can always fix mistakes and grow from them. And that leads me to a moral I learned from today's story. When you take responsibility and work together, you can turn any disaster into something amazing. What did you learn? Well, that's it for today, friends. Thanks for tuning in. See you on the next one. Toodles!